Hello, my friends, it's the Onion Creature. Today I have a riveting topic for you, that being Kirby logos. Who doesn't love a good Kirby logo? I know I do. Now this topic might be a little bit more interesting than you might initially think. I know, crazy, right? The Kirby series has existed for over 30 years, and during that time we've had 3 different logos. So I thought it would be fun to take a look back at each of these 3 logos and determine which one is best. A note here is that I'm basically only going to be discussing the logo for Kirby in the English language territories, where it looks like this, but I'll just be discussing the ones that apply to the territory in which I reside. Starting in 1992, we have Kirby's Dream Land, which debuted with this lovely, bubbly logo, and that's the logo that the Kirby series had until 2001. So this really is the classic logo for the series in the 90s and was used in the Kirby's Dream Land games, and I think it represents the series quite well. It's rounded, fun, approachable, just like Kirby, so I think that works pretty damn well. Good job to the designers who did that. That's pretty commendable, I'd say. It's a bit simple, but you know, it was the 90s, you know, it didn't have to be super complicated. Kirby is not a complicated character, so the logo certainly doesn't have to be. This variant of the Kirby logo has persisted for quite a bit longer in the use of fan material, specifically a lot of YouTube thumbnails, stuff like that. I've used it a lot in that. A lot of other Kirby related videos use this font, I guess because it's just a simple way of getting across that the video is about Kirby. So that brings us to 2001, where we get a pretty big change. This is where we get the modernization of the Kirby logo, and that happens as a result of the Kirby anime. This is probably the most influential and long-lasting thing that the anime contributed to the Kirby series. You know, there's some other things as well. You know, a lot of the games in the 2000s featured elements from the anime, specifically games like Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland and Kirby Squeak Squad, cameos in Kirby Mass Attack, and a few other things scattered across the place. But I'd say the logo itself is the thing that has lasted the longest and had the most impact on the series. It was used also in a lot of non-game material in the 2000s. I have a copy of Nintendo Monopoly, and that uses the Kirby anime art assets to represent Kirby in that board game. So there's examples of it being used outside of just video games themselves, you know, different merchandise, whatnot. This logo continued to be used throughout the 2000s and the 2010s into the very start of the 2020s. It was altered a few times. In the 2010s, you started to get a sort of pop-out 3D effect in a lot of logos, which I think looks really nice and is something very heavily associated with Kirby logos at this point. Just looks great pretty much whenever it's used. The logo itself, it's, you know, the iconic Kirby logo that everyone knows. You have the uppercase K, but then all the other letters are in lowercase, and then in the B you have that star, so that gives it the star connection. The Japanese name of the series translates to Kirby of the Stars. You got the warp stars, so many star elements in Kirby, so having it in the logo is very, very appropriate. It does retain, I guess, some of the bubbliness, but it's a bit sharper, a bit more sleek. It's just what you think of when you think of a Kirby logo at this point. So that brings us to the year 2022, in which the Kirby series went through a lot of changes. So this is the 30th anniversary of the Kirby series, and to go alongside that, we got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the first proper 3D entry in the Kirby series. This was a pretty big deal. Obviously, it's the highest selling title of all time in the Kirby series, and it brought so many new additions to the series, like being able to use copy abilities in 3D for the first time, full 3D levels, mouthful mode, so many new things in this game. And alongside it, we got a modernization of the Kirby logo. This is actually pretty similar to the 2001 anime logo, and so at first glance, you might not notice that many differences. I'd say the most obvious difference is that it's no longer curved. The Kirby anime logo has a bit of a curve to it, and the Kirby Kirby and the Forgotten Land logo is straighter, I guess. So that would be the most obvious difference. I think there's some other ones. I'm not a font guy really, but you know, if you look at them side by side, you know, you can see that it's a kind of just of a cleaned up, sleeker, cleaner, more aerodynamic version of that 2001 logo. And I think this was a pretty damn great change. You know, it still evokes the 2001 anime logo, but it has its own identity. I don't have the vocabulary to really describe it, but on a subconscious level, you just look at that logo and you say, yup, that's the way it should be. That's where we are, and that's been used in 3 games so far. I believe it's also used in merchandise and whatnot. Carried on in Kirby's Dream Buffet, and then last year in Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Since then, there hasn't been any Kirby games, but we can assume that this is going to be the logo moving forward. Who knows if it'll change again? Certainly it won't anytime soon, if I had to guess. Having it debut alongside Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I think was really cool. That's a really great new take on the series. A lot of people, presumably that was their first Kirby game, because it sold quite a bit more than the previous best-selling Kirby game, which was Kirby's Dreamland. So that was my fascinating deep dive into these Kirby logos. I think each of them have their own merit. You know, that original 1992 logo, it's the classic one, quite nice, but you know, a bit dated, I guess, by modern standards. And then you've got the 2001 logo, which is kind of what you think of when you think of a Kirby logo. It's in that pink with the yellow star. And then you get that improved upon in 2022. Which, you know, I'd say the whole series kind of was improved upon in 2022. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is like the most streamlined, just punchy, fantastic Kirby game ever, and having the new logo to go alongside that was super appropriate. I think this new logo really is the best version of it thus far. It's fantastic, it's lovely. It makes my brain say, that's good. That's my thoughts on the Kirby logos. What do you think of the Kirby logos, friend? I think they are pretty nice. I think it's a pretty important part of the series. One of the first things you notice is what a game's logo looks like. On the box, you're like, this logo communicates that this game is pretty damn cool. I'm gonna buy this video game. And that's just how it is, man.